I am loading to go live. So yeah, I think we are live.
I think it is.
I think it is. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. We are here to talk about football, as Konstantinos said. just, just to let you know, we are live instantly on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube. So today I am delighted to be joined by one lady and three gentlemen, and to talk about business,
Yes.
entrepreneurship, and leadership in 2021 and beyond. So before we get started, let's do
Plus CNN.
let's go around, and if you can introduce yourself and tell us what you do. So I would like to start with the lady, of course, Antonia. I pass it to you. There you go. Antonia, can you hear me? Who can hear me?
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Evan, for the invite. It's really nice to be here with you to discuss business leadership and the COVID-19 era. I teach business with a focus on organizational behavior and human resources in the UK. And I also teach online various courses in different institutions. So it's really nice to be here with people from different places and from different backgrounds to discuss business. So thank you,
thank you,
Evan, for the invite.
Thank you. It's a delight to have you with us, Konstantinos.
Hello, Ivan. Another interesting discussion with you, and very interesting members from different backgrounds. My name is Konstantinos Beginas. I'm a senior lecturer in business and management, senior fellow of Higher Education Academy, United Kingdom, teaching various institutions, and also lead editor for a specific book project.
Excellent. Delighted to see you again after some time. And George, another Greek.
Always.
Good morning. Thank you, Ivan, for the invitation for this discussion. For me, George Guleka is my name. I'm certified and accredited security manager, all-around professional, trained, skilled, and experienced in key positions in various industries for over a decade. For the last 3 years, I moved to Cyprus. I'm currently studying I'm currently working in Melco company in a big project. And while at the same time, I'm studying HRM, Human Resources Management, and Organizational Behavior postgraduate student. Again, thank you all. And I'm looking forward to hear your thoughts about the topics that we will be discussing.
About PAOK.
I'm an expert.
Hi, Ivan.
Hello. My name is Ivan Simkanic. I'm coming from Greece. Originally, I'm from Ukraine, for the people who don't know me. But I lived most of my life in Greece. And I've just recently decided to change location and change my career from the tourism industry into something different. I've been through a few bits of, bumps around, but I think that I found something that I love, and that's being an instructor of English and Greek languages. I'm pursuing my qualification now to be able to teach English professionally, and on top of that, business English, which I already pursue with more advanced students. Thank you again for the opportunity to be part of this panel, and let's hope for a fruitful discussion altogether.
Excellent. So let's spend the next half an hour, I suppose. And again, back to you, Antonia. Organizational behavior and the way managers and leaders operate has totally changed over the last year.
Yes.
So, what do you think employees want from their managers and leaders nowadays?
Yes, that's a very good question. I think first of all, managers have to listen, to start listening. We were doing this kind of research work with Konstantinos on a paper we wrote about the changing character of leadership in business because of the recent health crisis. And one of the main skills lacking in leadership is actually empathetic and attentive listening. So a lot of times people pretend to be listening without really paying attention to what employees have to say. So I think listening to employees' problems and concerns, not only related to work, but their lives in general and how their lives might have now new challenges to face regarding their families, caring for loved ones, for family members, juggling family life and work, and a lot of other issues that they might be dealing with. If those are resolved and if management is quite attentive to those problems and provide solutions, I think people will be much more engaged and committed to put forward their best their performance. And I think the same goes for customers. It's not only about managers should not only be looking at business transactions and how to fulfill them, but also providing solutions to customer and employees' lives, and I think making improvements in that respect is key.
Okay, so Konstantinos, how as a manager, as a leader, how can somebody help their employees during challenging times? Because as Antonia said, right now people have a lot of pressure, social pressure, sometimes economic pressure, psychological pressure. I think one of the best right now professions out there in terms of making money is psychologists. I think they absolutely. So how can a manager from academic point of view or a practical point of view, because you also work, right? When somebody says academic point of view, yes, but you also work. So you also have practical experience. So how can a manager lift people's morale and improve performance at the same time? What is your take?
There is a key word here that we call leadership, right? There is the need for managers to become leaders. I always say to my students that we don't really need managers anymore because artificial intelligence can manage people. We need leaders. We need leaders to inspire, engage, involve, energize the employees, and actually.
He froze, yeah?
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Okay. I'll pass it to George. George, you study human resources.
Yes.
You can continue the question if you don't mind.
Of course. In my opinion, the key term is employee orientation. Kostas, if you want to continue.
No, please go on, George.
Okay. In my opinion, employee orientation. Employees' lives and jobs around the world have been significantly affected by COVID-19. Employees invest time and effort in creating a positive employee experience during the pandemic. I think this can be achieved through employee orientation from the manager's side, and I think that the best solution for any company is to focus on to focus on the coaching or mentoring, in order to achieve this the best result, the employee engagement.
Yes, I think employee engagement is a very big thing, especially when you when you are managing employees remotely. It's very challenging. Trust me, I do manage people here, and it is very challenging to engage employees remotely. And because let's face it, some employees will also take advantage of working from home, and
True.
and some of them will not produce. So to engage employees is easier said than done. Um, Ivan, you, I believe, you are self-employed. You have been self-employed. You are running your own thing. Let's go a little bit into entrepreneurship. How do you think running your own show will change or has changed the last year or so? What are the challenges and what are the opportunities?
To begin with, I am a subcontractor, which means that I do depend on contractors to be able to go to work, which means that currently, due to the situation and the whole circumstances, it's not funny at all, but it has been lagging, the whole customer contact and the fact that the pandemic has created such a huge impact in our lives has impacted our business, our own businesses, which means that for about 2 or 3 months now, we literally don't hear from customers, so we don't get phone calls. So
Right.
we believe that, of course, there is some kind of people are frightened, people worry that, of course, if we go to work into their houses, there could be a potential infection, for example.
Yes.
So we have seen our business deteriorate a bit, and we have been, well, we can't work from home, so we have been finding different ways and solutions to keep ourselves occupied.
Antonia, you talk about employee behavior and we talk about engagement and coaching. How do you lead with purpose?
How do you lead with purpose?
Yes,
It's a very good question. It's an intriguing question. How can you clarify this a little bit more for me, please?
Okay. The way people now have different needs and wants. I think,
Absolutely, I agree with you.
It changed. Before, especially in a capitalist maybe country like UK, it was all about money, 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 run, get a sandwich from Boots and a juice and go, blah, blah. But now people's attitude and wants and needs and priorities changed. So
right.
This is what I mean. How do you lead with purpose? How can you find out?
Yes.
Yes. Does that help you? How do you find out?
Yes, that's a very good way to put it.
Yeah.
I think I would like to point out 2 things that I was thinking now with how the discussion flows. One thing is taking the Ivan's point and your question about entrepreneurs and how young people want to become entrepreneurs.
Yes.
Most of them want to be self-managed. They want to take initiatives. So I think managers should treat employees and talented employees, especially younger ones, like entrepreneurs, giving them freedom or paying them on commission about projects they can lead, about ideas that they can pitch into the business. So I think that's one form of leading with giving people some purpose and meaning in their jobs and work lives. And I also think it's a matter of corporate governance that companies need to change how they are governed. And Germany is a business model in that respect, where large companies have formal representation in board meetings and C-suite meetings as well. So whenever there is a merger or acquisition or important strategic decisions, there is formal representation from employees that have a voice and hear everything that's going on in a board meeting. And they are not there as decorations. They are there to listen, to observe, to communicate news to the workforce, and they are vital parts of decision making.
Yeah, that's a deep. You're going into deep, high level corporate governance as well, into your content, right? Konstantinos, you lived in Greece, you lived in the UK. What is next for entrepreneurship? Let's call it because people say the new normal, the new normal. I don't think we will go back to how it was from what it looks like. So how will the entrepreneurship landscape change moving forward?
Mhm. Right. So, what is entrepreneurship really? It is all about thinking in an entrepreneurial, innovative, creative way. It's about identifying gaps in the market and try to fill in them. Right? So, obviously, as we know, we are in a period of change. Right? We are in a period of changes, ongoing transition. So, obviously, there are new needs in the market. There are new wants, new desires from customers. So entrepreneurs need to be even more innovative now, even more creative now, okay, in order to find out what is needed in the market and how they can establish their position in the new normal, as we name it. So obviously, innovation is very important. The use of technology is very important, right? So they need to have a focus on technology, a focus on innovation, and the ability to find out what changes out there, what is the new normal, and how we need to survive and prosper. We need to make sure that we plan ahead and we always plan for different possible future scenarios and always planning for the worst case scenario. What is the worst case scenario? How we can adjust to the new needs, to the new wants, and of course, investing in innovation, and of course, adapting that creative mindset. It's very important. It's a critical success factor.
Um, George, you work
Yes.
and you also study. Um, what do you are an employee, maybe you are managing people as well, but at the same time you are studying. So um, what would you say that are the qualities that a young leader such as yourself should have in today's business world in order to succeed?
Can you repeat, please?
Yes, yes. What do you think are
Yes.
the qualities that a young leader in his 30s should have in order to succeed in today's corporate world or in
Uh,
today's work
yes.
environment?
Firstly, and most important, to keep himself updated, because we are, let's say, in a new reality,
Mm-hmm.
and I think staying updated is the most important factor for a leader. For a leader, as you said, in his 30s or 40s,
Yeah.
also to adapt to implement some let's say key principles, like empathy, like let's say strategies for better communication, uh, engagement. These are key terms that only if you are keep yourself updated, you can implement them in a working environment.
So
Uh, and
do you
also,
think that continue,
yes,
continue.
excuse me, as I used to say, technical skills plus human resources management build the perfect manager.
I think you touch when you talk, you touch different good topics like employee engagement, coaching. If you were to ask me now, employees, they don't want bosses anymore. They want coaches because they are going through emotional ups and downs. So they need somebody to coach.
Yes.
They just They don't want somebody to tell them go, 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 money, money, do, do, do. They need a different type of approach.
Of course.
So you touch also.
And that, yes,
Uh-huh.
I'm totally agree. Totally agree. Totally agree.
And even you talk about that customer, customers, let's say customer interaction has been reduced, and now, especially when it comes to sales, when it comes to business development, we see a lot of a shift to digital Zoom
Correct.
meetings.
Correct. Yes.
So how do you think technology can help a company that maybe is experiencing a drop in sales? So how can
First of all,
digital help?
First of all, the company needs to keep up with technology in order to be able to utilize it. Now, if a company doesn't really have anything to do with technology and it's just using phones and the usual, the way we know it, just picking up phones, sending texts and messages, then this company should probably look further ahead in order to be able to compete in the new, as we say, post COVID era. So it really depends on the business. So, for example, our business doesn't use much of a social media or to advertise. It works mostly with word of mouth. So recommendation after recommendation, we get the next job, which can book us up to almost a year ahead. However, on the other hand, the other venture, which is instructing online, which is something I just started literally in March due to the circumstances.
Yes.
This is something that I'm taking up more seriously, and I try to work on the whole technology aspect of it. So I make sure that in the future, this plus my interpersonal skills can bring me more customers.
Antonia, do you think we are moving from shareholder engagement to stakeholder engagement?
Yes, absolutely, Ivan. And it's not about pitting one stakeholder group against the other or choosing which one to favor the most. It's about aligning different stakeholder interests or needs, as you said before, with the company goals and objectives. That's a very difficult thing to achieve, but it's worth trying in today's world, in today's times that we live. It's a very difficult times. Yes, absolutely.
And
I think the World Economic. Yeah, sorry.
No, continue,
Just one point. The World Economic Forum, and this year in July, they have renewed their Davos Manifesto for the first time since 1973 to emphasize the need for stakeholder capitalism. So it's a sign of our times how important this is in terms of international business.
Yes, they moved it from Switzerland. It's going to take place in Singapore.
Yeah, Singapore is a very big power nowadays and a model for development as a country.
Yes, it's a very technologically advanced, and they do a lot of incentives on the government level, and they're very strict, It's especially on the company side when you go there, but they do a lot of and they manage the COVID very well. They managed the COVID very well because they didn't hide. They put a lot of money. They put a lot of research. People follow, and they spend a lot of money on massive testing, and they are doing quite well because they started very bad. Because Singapore, it's a very small country. It's like Rhodes. It's like one town. And they have a very good public transport system. It's basically the train. It's kind of door to door. So it is very easy for the virus to spread because a lot of people use public transport. But they did quite well. They took some strict measures, and they're doing quite well.
That's very good. Maybe we should follow some of what they've done. We should study what they've done. From a cultural point of view, they are very well integrated society. They have integrated different ethnic groups very smoothly since they gained independence. So
Yes.
from the 60s, since the 60s. So I think it's a role model for as a modern country, city. There's a lot of things to take and study.
Yeah,
Because I think also citizens trust the government. They don't have to be told what to do.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. You are touching a very big subject. We can talk about it forever, but
Another time.
and this is where blockchain is coming in, because trust is a big subject, and electoral votes and blockchain, and I think blockchain will change a lot of things in the future over the next probably 10 years. And but yes, they trust the government, and they are less of a what's the word I'm trying to use? They are not so revolutionary people. They follow and they respect, and I see the same thing in other places like the Emirates, Dubai, and everything is open, and people follow the rules and so on. So I don't know. Taiwan. You see things like Taiwan, Hong Kong. They are all those smaller societies. They are doing quite well because I think people trust the government as well, and is interesting. It's also the culture, and I think trust is something that it has been built for many years. Yes, I think they both trust each other. I think the people trust the government, and the government trusts the people to do the right thing and to take care of each other. So, Konstantinos, how do you think this massive transformation will impact the workplace? Let's say, and you can talk from your experience, let's say from a university point of view, because university is a small society, right? So how do you think the workplace will change?
It has changed a lot, Evan, and I believe that the change will stay even after the end of the pandemic, which I hope we will see the end of the tunnel very soon. So we know that everything now is turned to virtual. We have virtual learning environments, virtual work environments. We don't get to see our colleagues anymore. We don't really work together. We do work, but not in the actual workplace. We have our platform, so we interact online, we engage online. We are not able to develop those social relations. We don't have that social interaction anymore. However, this is where the leaders need to come into the game, because employees still need to feel part of something bigger, right? And that bigger thing is the organization, is the university, the company, no matter what is the size. So the important thing here is to make employees feel like active stakeholders, like they hold the stake of the organization, that they can really make an impact, although they don't get to see their managers, they don't get to see their leaders. So they need to know that people are there, right? And they are there to support, they are there to offer any guidance. And of course, that's crucial. The online organization is very important, and asset to feel people that are part of something bigger. This is what Maslow said, his theory of motivation, that feeling of belongingness. So we need to make sure that we really enhance that feeling of people nowadays. So that's very important. And this is what happens at the universities, right? We have engaged online lecturers, administrators, registry, students. We had a meeting yesterday with about 40 people, 45 people from all over the world, really, right? We never meet. We never met. Most of them never met, never seen them. And I don't know if I will ever meet them, but we work so well together because internal communication is very, very well established. That internal architecture, as John Kay said with his theory of corporate success, is there. So internal communication, effective leadership, use of technology, all are very, very important aspects. Because as I said, we are in a period of ongoing change. Change is the only constant factor. So we need to make sure that we still engage people, that we still involve people, and the core we use technology. Technology is very important. And I want to mention something very important here. I recruited the McKinsey very recently. So we know that in 20 economic crisis in recent history, all companies across sectors did extraordinary people move innovations. So the technology of the environment for industrial engineering was volunteering help companies, right? Help companies a lot to move forward. So those companies that started during industry revolution 4.4, right? They had already won, right? They are already positioned.
You are breaking out a little bit. So maybe later you can type the last sentence in the comments for people to see on LinkedIn. I understand what you're saying. So I want to go to George to talk a little
Great,
bit
thank you.
a little bit about recruitment. And when uh, you know, does the pandemic, reset a lot of work trends? I think human resources leaders will need to rethink workforce, employee planning, employee management, performance, and have different strategies. This is where I think what is, this here this is where I think recruiting the right people is more important than ever. People that align with your company, because when you manage someone face to face, or when you see them in the office every day, you can mold them, right? You can develop them. But when you do it remotely, is much more challenging. So, I think, George, I want to talk a little bit about recruitment uh, and if you are, let's say, a CEO or entrepreneur. Antonia, back to you before I go to Ivan. How do you think we can now see, which people are fit for our company? What do? We look at the values of the company. We look at where the company is going, and from experience, we can see during the interview if this is the right fit for the company. What do we do?
Yes, that's a very good question. You mean during recruitment and selection, or
Yes,
after?
yes,
During? Yes,
yes,
that's I think, very good question. And it's not there's no easy answer,
yes,
but I think maybe utilize digital tools, expand the selection methods and before recruitment, so to tap into different types of talent and competencies that can be
yes,
measured using data and metrics, performance
yes,
metrics for
yes,
candidates. So then objectively, we can select the right people for the right position.
yes,
I think
yes.
we have to rely on technology, but also on the human side, of course. But we need to, I think my view is, the wider range of selection methods you employ, the better, the more accurate and the more objective choice you can make of final candidates.
Yes, George, we lost you a bit, and the question was initially to you about
Yes.
recruitment. Now that a lot of employees will work remote, a lot of companies maybe will use this pandemic to cut costs by asking employees to work remotely and to downsize rent. It's different when you have
Yes.
it's different when you rent an office for 50 people and then you go to 25, because 25 of those IT guys can work from home, because really an IT guy, a coder, a developer doesn't need to come to the office. A marketing guy, a
Uh,
sales guy needs to come to the office because their mentality, their character, they like the buzz. But if you're an introvert IT guy, you really don't need to go to the office. At least maybe you can go to the office every Monday for the team meeting. So when you if you have a company, from human resources point of view, in the recruitment
yes.
process, how do you make sure that the person you are about to recruit fits your culture? What do you
Yes.
do? As a maybe you are a solopreneur and you want to recruit your first employee,
Yes.
or maybe you work for a different company, but as a hiring manager, a lot of hiring managers are CEOs, right? A lot of hiring managers are entrepreneurs because they make the final decision. So as a hiring manager, what do you look for when it comes to recruitment and hiring the right people? Antonia talk about data, talk about, competency tests, leadership tests, which I also use for my
Yes.
clients. So let me stop talking. Back to you. So how do you make sure the person is the right fit?
In my opinion, firstly, you have to clarify the vision and the mission of the company. I think that many companies have this issue.
Yes.
Also, yes, the vision and the mission. Next, in my opinion, through, let's say, how can I say it? Can you please repeat the last of the question?
Yes.
The
Let's
last
say
part of the question?
okay, let me make it very clear. Let's say you are a hiring manager, you are a human.
Okay.
How do you interview me? How do you make sure I am the right
Okay.
fit for your company?
That's a tricky question. In my opinion, you have to be, as a manager, you have to be flexible and, to apply an out-of-the-box thinking, because this new reality, I think that it's necessary. It's necessary in nowadays. And next, after, as I said, about the vision and the mission, to have a clear conversation and a clear discussion with the employee.
You mean to set the
To, to
you mean to explain the expectation?
Of course, and also, and more specifically, about the job description, about the qualifications, all these, you have to clarify all this. And also, I have to add something. That as an HR officer or manager, I think that you have to focus on acting like an ambassador of the company, not just the interview. I think that the interview is a highlight, is a highlight moment, and you have to act as an ambassador of the company. The employee has to understand that he's not have a conversation or a discussion or let's say an interview with just an employee, but an ambassador of the company. And the bigger the company, the more important is this role.
There is somebody that is putting a comment right now, Raju. If a candidate is right for the company, he says three things matter: vision, alignment, potential, and passion. Vision,
Alignment, that's a key
Yes,
word.
alignment, potential, and passion.
alignment.
I think, the last one before we exit, for Ivan, I think, okay, I can see, you all talk from your, like, I can see that Antonia, we're meeting here for the last 20 minutes. She will make decision based on data.
No,
Right?
absolutely. It's not an absolute. I don't want to make that as the biggest thing. No, absolutely not. Absolutely.
Because-
I mean, the human factor is more important than ever.
Because if you, for example, I wanted to ask Ivan, like,
Maybe
for
a
example,
mixture of both,
yeah, for me, for example, I don't use data. I use my gut feeling. And I think this comes from experience. When I ask a question, sometimes I don't ask the question to look at the answer. I'll ask the question to see the way of the answer. If you get my point.
Yeah.
To read in between
Of
the lines.
course,
And I think
absolutely.
so even what is your opinion, maybe as a solopreneur? Well, how do you, if let's say you're recruiting somebody, how do you make the right choice? What do you ask?
I would look actually in the mirror. I would see myself. What would I do if I was to go on an interview? What would I try to tell my future employer for them to hire me? So I would actually step into their shoes and think, right, what do they need? I would like them to be reliable, first of all. So if I'm hiring my first person, that first person, just like your commentator said, has to be aligned, has to be on the same level of thinking and business mind as mine. So he or she has to share my vision of the future company, of whatever we want to build. So reliability would go first for me, and then I would look into everything else, into the experience and everything else that really matters towards the business. Because we see just people now and again, they just come and go. They don't take the business seriously. They just come here, maybe for the money, maybe for something else, maybe just to get some kind of qualification to go to the next stage. But just like you, all of you said, to find a person that will see the things that you see and that have the vision that you have, it's very, very difficult. So I would have to find a person that shares that same vision with me, which is
It's very challenging.
It's
This is very challenging because remember, for me, my experience is nobody will share the same vision with you unless they get to know you and they grow in the company. Because remember, you meet somebody for the first time. I think, Antonia, you wanted to say something from before, right, about the hiring and the selection and the cultural fit.
I'm hearing all this now, interesting input. So there's a lot of things flowing on my mind. But I agree with you guys that, especially for startups, the gut feeling and following your instinct, and it's a very dynamic environment where the personalities of the people who work and juggling a lot of roles, because if you have only 2 or 3 people working for you, they will be doing a lot of things at the same time.
That's right.
So
exactly.
that cultural, that personality fit is really, really important. Absolutely. You have to feel the other person is the right person you want. As you grow as a business, though, if you become, like, if the business is growing bigger and bigger, I think more formalized structures are put in place to make sure then that there are guidelines, because then other people may be making the decisions on your behalf. You might not be there to control everything. So you're not a sole entrepreneur anymore, and it changes. But we should listen to our gut feeling, even though we are living in a very technocratic world at the moment.
Yeah, I think a lot of the questions and answers we are going through now, as you said before, there is no right or wrong answer. It's subjective to company, to how big is the company, to culture, right? I don't think one answer fits all. Konstantinos, the last question for you. What advice do you have for graduates, let's say for people that are graduating this year, last year, they are going to graduate in the next few months? What is your advice? What do you think they should do? And yes.
First of all, I don't know if you can hear me well this time.
Better so far.
Great. I don't know what is going on today. Okay, so first of all,
because you are powerful. What do you expect? You are powerful. That's what.
Okay, I don't know if
I'm telling him every single time. I'm telling him the same thing.
That's the problem with me. Everything,
okay,
every time.
He's the underdog. Park is the underdog always.
It's good sometimes.
Okay, that's another panel discussion. But if we go back to your question,
yes.
I would advise to students, so that's I always say, never lose your courage, right? It's a very difficult time, it's a very difficult period, and never stop developing yourselves. Lifelong learning is very important, right? Should never stop exercising their interpersonal skills, teamwork skills, right? Ability to fit in cultures, adjust. And I always say to my students, the first thing that they need to do when they go to a new environment is to establish their credibility, to prove who they are, okay? So that is very, very important. That is crucial because from credibility, trust arises. So other people then can trust you, can see that you can achieve things, that you can work hard, so they do have expectations from you. So this is actually very important from the very beginning. Always establish your credibility. Never stop developing yourselves. So a BA, an MBA, a PhD, those are not enough. You need other interpersonal skills. You need to stay up to date always. And as I said, your interpersonal skills, very important, very crucial. Exercise your interpersonal skills. Learn how to manage diversity. Stay up to date with technology. That's very important. And when you get to an interview, so that you are a person that you never stop developing him or herself, that you stay up to date with all the recent trends, you understand technology very well, you understand the virtual environment very well, you understand the digitalization process very well, and this is actually very important, right? So this is always my advice. Prove your credibility, never stop developing yourself, and exercise your interpersonal skills. So those three are very, very critical success factors, and I can see that from my experience. And if I want to use my story, when I started, of course, things were different, but this is actually the pathway that I followed, and this is the pathway I still follow, and I believe it works well for me, and I believe it can work well for other people. This is something that I always say to my students, and I believe that those things help them and will help. So that's my view.
And as somebody saying, yes, learning is a lifelong journey. As age expectations and life expectancy is going to go up, we're gonna have, now we have three. We have you're until 25, and then you have three kind of lives, right? You until you're 20, 25, you study, then from 25 to 65, 70, you work, and then 70. But life expectancy, according to World Economic Forum, with different data, is expected to go up. People in the next, they're expected to live longer, to live up to 90, 100, 110, 105. So it's going to be like four lives. So people that are going to finish their main full-time job at 65, they will still have another 30, 35 years to live. So so they will need to do something. And a lot of people, they will not, they will have to do something part-time or learn new skills. And according again to research, millennia is not the biggest market. The biggest market will become the people who are above 55, 60 years old. So therefore, companies need, it's interesting. Therefore, companies need to look into this market, because they will have more disposable income than millennials.
Can I say something?
Yes, and then they will have another 30 to 40 years to live. I am about to close with you, so there you go, Andonia. But the UK internet is not good, huh? So George, let me pass it to you. How old are you?
34.
34. So what advice? Let me put Andonia back on. Andonia, give me 1 minute. I'll close with you.
Yes.
Let me put.
Sorry about that.
I'll close it. So George, you are 30. How old? 30. I think we're all in the same, between 30 and 40, right? 30 and 39, we're in between. So what, and the same question for Antonia, what advice do you have, final thought, your thought in 1 minute, what advice or suggestion do you have for somebody who is in the 30, a young leader, maybe the first time they are leading a team, they are supervisor, team leader, what advice do you have? What do you think they should do? As a young, I don't mean as a new leader, I don't mean young in age. As a new leader, maybe it's the first time they have a supervisory role. What is your advice, your suggestion? What do you think they should do?
As I said before, to keep yourself always updated, developing yourself with a master, with a second master, I don't know, and to apply and to focus on things that how can I say it? What, Kostas? You said something?
I don't think so.
As I said, keep yourself updated, know your values, and always focus on the employee lens. Look always on the employee lens, not the organizational lens, on the employee lens. To be empathetic.
Yeah, Nick J from the scratch, know your people. One of my colleagues, he just put a comment, know your people. And I think one of the biggest things nowadays is, as a boss, as a leader, is to really know your people. And the way to do this is, the best managers out there, the best leaders talk they talk, they communicate with their employees and the team, and a lot. And and I think this is why managers and leaders need to become more of a coach rather than bosses. And how do you know your people? By communicating with your people. By I'm right. I'm laughing with the comment from one. You communicate with your people. You get to know your people, because what motivates me, it doesn't necessarily motivate Ivan or George. At what
Yes.
level. I would like to close with Antonia. You wanted to say something from before, so please.
Excuse me, can I say first something? And next,
Sure.
of course, I would like to add that looking through the lens of the employee, the leaders see
Yes,
the
just
employee
one comment if
experience.
somebody wants to
Continue, George.
Yes, from the perspective of employee, this is a way to get employee eye views of issues like engagement and culture. I think the secret is for a leader is to look through the employee through the employee's eyes, through the employee's lens.
Yes, I understand.
Thank you
Antonia.
very much. Thank you very much.
There is a bit of delay, so Antonia will come up now.
I just wanted to mention two things. One is I've known George for many years, and I know he's very, in his field, he always looks up for opportunities to grow himself. So there's a lot of online content for free for self-development. So he's looked on LinkedIn, on Coursera, and other databases that are for free to take up a lot of courses and accreditation. I think that's really nice. And I think that is also, we need to build a brand. So if I had to advise a young person, I would say build your personal brand. As an employee, you have to build a brand you have to have a personal brand.
Okay, that's a very interesting topic. Let's talk about it in a couple of weeks' time. We can have a specific, how do you do this? Maybe we can bring somebody else on board. But yes, that's an interesting topic of building your personal brand and getting, and get people to know you about what you stand and what value you provide and who you are, basically, right? Yeah. Okay, so there is a bit of delay. Guys, thank you very much. Antonia, thank you very much. Konstantinos, thank you very much. George, thank you very much. Ivan, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's fantastic. A lot of value added information. Sometimes we jump from one topic to another because we all have different experiences. But I think for people that listen to it, to understand it, they will get the point. So again, thank you. Delighted to have you today, and I'm looking forward to talk to you again.
Thank you very much, Ivan. Thank you.
See you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Thank you all.
Thank you.